If everyone minded their own business, the world would go around a great deal faster. That's from Alice in Wonderland, a book that I read when I was a little girl, probably 8 or 9 years old. And I just picked it up from the library, I think, and it fascinated me, and it made me curiouser and curiouser for years to come. I'm still very curious. And I was Alice in Wonderland at Disneyland way back in 19... And I was in the early days, right after the park opened. And as I was a little girl, I was excited because not only did I read the book, and it was full of nonsense, and to me. And then the park was open, and they had Alice there, and they had the movie as well that Disney had put together. So I was excited to perhaps one day be Alice in Wonderland. It was a dream I had. So as time went on, went about my life and so on, and school and all that, and I dreamed mostly of being an actress and a mother and a lot of different things. But at 19, I was able to get a job in the park, and it was my third interview that I got a job, because the first two just didn't hear back. And then the third, I was told by a friend of mine who was a Jungle Boat cruise driver or speaker. He said, just wear knee socks. They love knee socks. They'll hire you. And I did. And they hired me. And I went, and they said, we have a job for you. It's in merchandising in Adventureland. So I put on my muumuu that they give you, because it's Adventureland and it's the jungle. So I guess that's where muumuus are. And I sold incense in a little corner market of the market near the bazaar. And I did that for a while, and that was interesting. And then they put me into the bazaar itself as the official greeter. I was supposed to smile and greet people, and I did that. But when I was selling the incense for about a week or so, some lead men came by, and they had Baloo with them and all the characters from the Jungle Book. And I just happened to say, well, how are you fixed for an Alice? And they said, well, we're looking. We need a weekend summer Alice, and they're still looking. So why don't you go out for it? And I did, and I was chosen out of 6 other women, young women, who were vying for that part, that high-paying job, because it was the highest paid in the park. Entertainment and maintenance were the highest paid in the park. That was $1.98 an hour. So I wasn't after the money. But they chose me because I had a wholesome look. I had dimples and so on. Blonde hair, very whitish blonde. It was Southern California, and it was the surfer days. It was the Vietnam War, but it was also the Beach Boys and all that. So I enjoyed my time as Alice. I had my Mad Hatter here on my right side, and on the left side, the White Rabbit. And the Mad Hatter was Russell Paris, wherever you are, Russell Paris. Hi out there, because I haven't seen him for many years. But he made me laugh every time I went out on set. And it was 20 minutes on set, where you'd greet the families and sign autographs, but never talk. You couldn't talk. That was a no-no. And I had a blast. Although once in a while, a child would come up and hit me because they didn't think I was real. But the lead men would say, back off. We weren't allowed to say even ouch. But, I would have liked to use my accents, because I'm a dialect coach now for plays and films and so on. And I just finished a film, by the way, which is the musical version of Florence Nightingale, where I did all the Brit dialects. Didn't have to do the American ones. I did the British dialects for American actors. And it's going to be a wonderful play. It'll be on the internet soon. Written originally by a woman in the Northwest here. And so I was Alice for the whole summer. And it was the best job I've ever had. Because it was a non-job. It didn't really work very hard because I was 20 minutes out there greeting the public, smiling a lot, non-stop smiling, and then in the back, put your feet up for 20 minutes. And then the other characters would come through, and all the guys had towels across their neck because they were sweating off about 5 pounds a day of water weight. I didn't have that problem because I wasn't enclosed in the costumes, and the costumes in those days had screens for breathing that had 3 or 4 pieces of material, and I would often hear of, Gus passed out one day, and a lead man, they had to come and pick him up because the kids were kicking him. They were kicking Gus, can you believe? Kids could be cruel, but it picked him up and he could breathe again. But they improved those headpieces so that now that guys can breathe. But the funny part backstage was that the dwarves, because I would talk to Snow White and she was just she was so sweet. She's a little Mary Sunshine, and she didn't know that all the dwarves were stoned out of their mind, because you get really bored being a dwarf, and most of the guys were 4'8" to 5'3", jockey size. And they would come to work with their sunglasses on and just go, Alice, Alice. So I kind of felt like I was in the novel, This is a surreal dream. And they were on cannabis. In those days, it was much maligned, but nowadays people got smart about it finally. So, although I don't advocate it for young people because it's a demotivator. Well, that's my little side teaching thing. So it's very relaxing for some and pain relieving and so forth. It's another topic. So wanted to just kind of share this experience with you and say that the next summer that came up, the guys asked me if I would be Alice again, and I said, well, I've gotten a job as a counselor in a camp up in the High Sierras, and I'm going to be a counselor for a girls' cabin, cabin of about 12 girls. And they said, well, we were going to fly you to Disney World, we were going to fly you and move you there, and you were going to live there and be the Alice for the summer. I said, what? And that's how wholesome I looked at the time. And so I was just shocked to hear that, but I said, I can't be Alice forever. I can be a teacher forever, which I am, but I couldn't be Alice forever, because imagine an Alice this size. Oh, and speaking of sizes, I was the weekend Alice in that summer, but the weekdays Alice was a different kind of gal. She had kind of gotten burned out, and I don't think she liked her job, because we did a photo shoot one day, and she was just very grumpy and wouldn't talk to me much, but she had a large top, and the guys would make jokes about, well, when she bends over to shake hands with the kids, we're going to have to pick her up probably. But why they would cast she must have known somebody, but she was the weekday Alice, and she wasn't very happy. Maybe they flew her to Disney World, I don't know, but you do have to have a smile on your face, and you have to, mine was fresh every day, because it was only Saturday and Sunday, so it was fresh and happy, and I was joyful. So that is my story. I want to make sure that I have covered it, and then I went on to be a teacher, as you know, and I became an actress and a director. I have directed a lot of shows, acted in a lot of shows, still do, still will. I have a website called The Drama School, 3Ws.thedramaschool. It's a very humble little site, but I still do it around the country. I'm heading for Florida, where I can possibly do some classes for children, because children right now need a lot of joy. They need to get their joy back. Adults do as well. I might teach some adults improvisation. But being Alice made me curiouser and curiouser to go after the fantasy of theater, which also brings the reality of joy to people. And as I say, I've also been a studio teacher on several commercials and a film for a whole month in Colorado. And so I did a lot of things that sprang from that exciting experience. And when I look back, I was lucky, and I still retain that joyful feeling and experience of when I was Alice. I still retain that optimism. No matter what has happened, I still retain it. And a lot of things have happened, and a lot of things are happening today, but keep your optimism, keep your joy, search for it, it's still out there, and don't let anybody tell you different. And so have a wonderful week, and keep those joyful feelings coming. Take care.